What does it truly mean to prepare for the future? I am Lwando Skosana, and today I'm joined by Mr. Adriaan Bester, and we are going to discuss the impact of the 65 alive. Mr. Bester, how are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. It's nice to be here.
Nice to be here. Thank you for making the time to come through and discuss this eventful introduction to AVBOB. But let's get right into it. Why do you think it's so important for young people to prepare for the future?
Well, look, I think probably any person sometime in their life have heard an older person saying, it goes so quickly.
Yeah.
But I'm 60 years old, so when you get here, you realize that it really is true. And the problem is that a lot of what you're preparing for does take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at building a pension fund, you're looking at, let's just say, accumulating wealth, making provision for the future. You have to start doing that quite early, because otherwise you need to spend an inordinate portion of your income to try and do that. If you start at 20, you can probably spend maybe 5% or 10% of your income, and you'll accumulate a whole bunch of provision over your lifetime.
Yeah.
If you start at 40, you probably need to spend 30% or 35%.
Yeah.
And at some point it just becomes impossible. You just don't have enough time.
That's true. No, I definitely agree with you. I think as young people, we also, I think we don't find the urgency in wanting to prepare for the future, because I think we're very laid back. We're more on the, I've still got time, I'm still 25, I've got another 5 years. When I'm 30, then I'll start, and then you procrastinate as well when you get to 30 years old. So yeah, it definitely is important. Now also when I grow up, I actually see the importance of it. Because also before I was just like, no, I'm still young, I've still got time to do this. But I think as time went by, and how the economy keeps on changing and everything, I think I've got that mindset of trying to prepare myself for the future. And I think obviously you're more advanced in life, and you've made a lot of financial decisions. But what's that one financial decision that you've made in your life, at your earlier stages in life, that benefited you now in your later stage in life?
Well, look, I think I was fortunate. I was able to study. Sort of in the middle of my life at about 30, I really only started studying. I studied early, but I didn't complete those qualifications, but I started studying again at about 30.
Oh, all right.
That investment in yourself, I think you can't replace that with anything else. But also I made a fairly wise decision, or I was pushed into it by a broker at the time, and I bought a retirement annuity when I was still fairly young.
Okay.
And the problem with a lot of people, including myself, is over the years when you leave a workplace, you tend to use your pension payout.
Yeah.
So your pension is released and you use it for something else. And it's fine if you put that pension into your house or you put it into some other investment form, but most people don't. And a year or two down the line, you've got nothing to show for it. But I always had the retirement annuity, and I kept paying that, and I continued to contribute to that. And because it was now over such a long period, it grew from not really spending a huge amount on it when I started to really be able to provide something when I do retire.
No, definitely. I think also with us, there is a little bit of lack of financial literacy on our side. Well, for myself, different households, so sometimes we don't really discuss those things about planning for your future, about saving. For us, it's more of, I'm going to work, then I get paid in the month, then I reward myself, and then so you don't really think about the future. But thank God we've got those things in place, like in our workplaces, where you have retirement annuities that are obviously compulsory, that you can't run away from. So even when you do retire at that age of 60, then you've got something to sort of fall back onto.
Yeah, look, I think the important to remember is that in a lot of workplaces they do have pension funds or provident funds, which are compulsory. For the most part, retirement annuities are not. So it's something that you do in your personal capacity apart from the normal provision. And the nice thing is that you can carry it forward wherever you go. So it's not linked to your employer. It's not linked to anything specific apart from to yourself. So I think that makes a retirement annuity just a little bit more sort of unique. You can structure it to yourself, to what you need, etc. The problem is, as we go through life, your priorities change over time, and you tend to spend money on the things that are urgent. So the things that are now require spending now. So, when you get married, there's spend that has to happen then, and you have children, and there's spend that has to happen then, and that commitment, obviously, to children also takes a very long time. So now for the next 20 years or whatever, you're looking after that child, you're looking after their studies, you're looking after all the things that they need in life. And in the background, you should have something running for yourself.
Yes.
And people sort of tend to forget that they do the things that they need to do today, and they forget that they must look after themselves. And, people are getting older and older. So 50 years ago, if you reached 70 or 75, you would have been really old. Today, we sort of expect to become 80, 85, even older than that. So you're going to have to look after yourself for a long time, even after retirement. So it's important that you start making those provisions early.
That is true, that is true. But now back to the star of the show, the 65 Alive. What inspired AVBOB to introduce this cash benefit, and why do you think it's so important for the customers or for our clients?
So I think the start of it all is that AVBOB is a mutual society. So AVBOB doesn't have shareholders. We need to give our profits back to our policyholders in some way. So over the years, we've sort of made different plans to get that money back to policyholders. We started with different funeral provisions and a free coffin and free transportation and all kinds of things. And we built that portfolio up to the point where we said we believe that every AVBOB policy is sort of covered. Even if it was a small policy that was taken out in 1950, that person would be able to do a funeral with us. And we said, how else? What else can we do to get money back to our people? And I mean, the immediate thought just arose that up until then, everything we did was focused on when that time comes, when somebody passes away. And we said, can we not do something while our members are alive? Can we not give them a benefit that they can use in life? And that's really where it started. Now, it's not a retirement annuity, but it can create a little bit of savings over time. And it can create that little bit of a nest egg that's sort of almost unexpected. It's not something that you planned for. It's something that will build over time. This was the first declaration into the 65 Alive. But our plan is, and I must also just say that it incorporated an earlier provision that we made, or an earlier benefit called ARA, the AVBOB Reward Account. So the AVBOB Reward Account was pulled into 65 Alive. And from here on, our plan is that every time that we declare a bonus, that bonus will go into your 65 Alive account. So on the one hand, people think, I'm 30 years old, so 65 Alive doesn't really mean anything to me because I'll only be able to get the money in 35 years. But that's exactly the point, because if you are in the society now, you're a policyholder and a member now, you might get, 10 or more bonus declarations over your lifetime, and each of them will add a little bit to your 65 Alive benefit. So by the time that you actually get to 65, it'll be a whole bunch of money.
I mean, I was looking at mine and I was like, I need this money now. Like, I wanted to get access to it. I'm like, when am I going to reach 65? I think it's a great initiative. It really is a great initiative. And I mean, with the influx of calls that we've received and the emails from the client, everyone is excited. It's a great buzz. Everyone just wants their money. But yeah, I think it's a really great initiative. And I think the customers definitely feel loved, and they definitely feel that AVBOB is definitely there for them. I think it's a great initiative, and I don't think you guys could have done anything better than that.
Look, I think from the perspective of the society, we consist because of our members and for our members. And therefore, it really is important that these decisions are made with the member as the first priority. If it creates a little bit of excitement, we're really glad to hear that.
Right, it does. Thank you so much for your time today, sir. And I can't wait to be 65 so I can get...
Don't worry, you'll be there soon enough.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.